Hello, good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, please, I need you to give me a reaction, give me a thumbs up in the group that you can hear me. If at all you can hear me, please just let me know so that I will be sure that we're all connected together. Okay, so once again, I want to thank you for the privilege that you've granted me to be your instructor this season, and I want to let you know that today's class is going to feature a couple of things. Earlier on, we earlier on I took you through the process of creating a HTML file. At least right now we know how to create a basic HTML file. And right here we are going to be dealing today on something more in depth. We're going to take our learning a bit further to know what are the basic things that form a HTML structure for us to get an amazing web page. And of course, tonight, this class is just going to be a class between an hour and two, and we're going to ensure that whatever thing that we are going to dish out in tonight's class is going to be completely practicable so that it will be something you will understand so well. So I want to appreciate you once again for joining us in this class this evening. Just get yourself prepared, and of course you should already know that your text editor is very, very important. If you haven't gone through the first class, the introductory class, where I talked about some of the tools we will be using, please, this will be a good time for you to do that. It will be very, very important that you go through that class and get to understand all the things that we mentioned in that first class. It is very, very important. Please kindly go to come the channel for you to follow us or for you to watch this that we are doing is our YouTube channel, and it is going to okay. Hello. Okay, so tonight's class we are going to mostly be looking at a couple of things with regards to HTML. We're going to be looking at understanding HTML basics, and then we do a little or a brief introduction to CSS so that you get to understand what this is, what CSS is. I already told you a little bit of what CSS is, that HTML is what gives you the structure, whereas the CSS is what gives you the beauty that you see. And it is very, very important that you follow us through in this class. So today we will be looking a little bit deeper into the HTML structure so that we will intensify our class, so that we will go a bit further from what we did last time. I believe if you practiced the little codes that I dropped, you would notice that definitely your website would have already worked. If you did the test, you will see that it has already worked, and it is really, really important. It is really, really important that you know that that first class is going to be the building block for us to continue with what we are doing right now. So please follow me carefully, And like I told you, this class is just going to mostly focus on practical. It's not just going to be one of those classes where we do all theoretical. So I'm going to quickly dive into our previous code so that you see what we did last time. Of course, this is this is our HTML editor. We actually included, yeah, this is our HTML editor, and this is what we did last time, where we mostly talked about our basic HTML structure. We said that you have the doc type, and then you go ahead to add the HTML tag, which is the opening tag, and here is the closing tag. After that, you put in the header tag or the head tag, and after that, the title tags comes in. And this title tag is what appears at the title bar of your browser. I made mention of that. Also, I told you earlier that some other important tags that your web page will be using, they are all going to be included in this head tag. Things like the meta tags that displays some important information, such as the website name, such as the website description, things like the keywords that you're going to be using on your website, the images that will be shown when you share your website. It's also going to, that's the thumbnail that will accompany your website when you share it, is going to be there. And the keywords are the things we're going to be using. I know you would have heard things like search engine optimization, SEO. So we will be using those keywords as some of the things we will use to more like conduct a good level of SEO on our website. So it is very, very important that you follow us through. So the head section contains a couple of other things, and when we will start adding CSS, the head tag is going to be a good place where all those things will be added. And of course, when we also get to the point where we'll add our JavaScript files, the head tag also is a place where we can do all those. A lot of things happen within this head tag. So, but this head tag, most of the things happening there are things that the browser uses. You don't even the visitors of the website don't need to have access to those things. So it is, those are the things that the browser will mostly need. And then the body tag is a place, everything at all that will be displayed on your website body is where that's where you put in all those content. And of course, we have already put this content earlier, and we saw how the content is looking. So I'm just going to let's see what our content look like. Let's go to where we saved it earlier. I believe I saved mine on desktop, but if you are using your mobile device, I believe on yours should be in the directory where you saved it. So it is very, very important that you know exactly where you saved your content. So I saved mine with website. So let's look. Let me pick the website that I just created, and okay, let me share the screen so that you can see it. So this is the view. Currently, you should be able to see what the website look like. You should be able to see what we've been able to create. This is our web page. The things that is being displayed there, you see we have a h1 tag here, and that is what is showing here. And then this is the paragraph tag which we showed. And interestingly, someone asked a question last time in the group where the person said that he added that he could not see the paragraph. But this paragraph is meant to separate this block of text. When you introduce another paragraph, it is going to also separate it. So, but what I want you to do is I want you to just follow me carefully, so that every step of the way you will be certain that you follow through in all that we're doing. So we're going to be expanding on this, and today I told you we'll be talking about understanding HTML basics and introduction to CSS. And objectives is that by the end of this class you should be able to create structured HTML documents and apply basic styling using CSS. And we talked about the HTML basics last time, where we have the structure of an HTML. I just showed you that also. Where we'll have the structure of the HTML. And I just showed you where we'll have the structure of the HTML. And of course, the various tags there, where you have the doc type stating HTML, it declares the document type and version of HTML. So mostly that is telling you that this is a HTML5. In other previous versions of HTML, you don't even need to specify the doc type, but this explicitly states that this is a HTML5 file that you've created. And of course, the HTML tag is what encloses the entire content of the web page. And then I've also told you that the head contains metadata, things like the title and links to styles or scripts. I earlier mentioned that. And of course, the body contains all visible content. So what are the core HTML tags that we are going to be looking at? First is the headings. And of course, we've used one of the headings earlier. We use the H1 tag. And in that H1 tag, we showed you a heading for the website, which is mostly the thing that displayed the initial my website in bold. That is the heading. If you want to also ascertain how this heading works, there are different levels of heading. We'll have the H1, we'll have the H2 down to H6. H1 is the biggest and H6 is the smallest. I won't say anything further than that at this point. We're going to just let's add another H2 block. This is H2. This is our H2 block, and then we'll say sub heading 2, and we can as well do the H3 block here, and we'll say subheading 3. You can do that for H4, and of course I'll repeat that for H5. Then the last one, which is the final one, is H6. Please note that there is no H7. The header tag only stops at this level. And of course, if we go over and refresh our page, you don't need to reload, just reload the page, you're going to see the various headers. You'll see the first header, which is the H1 tag, we'll have it, and then you have the H2, the subheading, we'll have the H3, we'll have the H4, the H5, and the H6. Of course, this is our paragraph that we had earlier. If you notice, the paragraph is just also standing on its own, and this has shown us that the various headings will have the various sizes are being shown here, so you clearly understand what the headings does. And of course, when we'll get to a point where we are going to be seeing, when we are going to be adding CSS, you will understand then that your CSS can be used to expand a couple of things. Your CSS can even make the H6 tag the biggest tag. The CSS can make the H3 one of the biggest heading that you have. It simply depends on exactly what you feel you want to accomplish with regards to you want to accomplish with regards to the heading tag that you want to create. So your CSS helps you do that. And so we will just go ahead to also look into that. So this is the code in case you're not seeing it. So you should be able to follow me through all this. This is the we'll have the H2, the H3, the H4, the H5, and the H6. And I said it is actually the various headings. And of course, we've already talked about the paragraph tag. And the paragraph tag is used to separate a block of text into paragraph. So that does not mean that each of these heading tag cannot hold multiple text. You can have so many lines in each of these paragraphs and it will clearly hold it. But then why will you want to use the H tag to hold more like a paragraph? So it is better you do that using a paragraph tag so that the content will be properly aligned. And of course there is one other thing I want to include here. The I want to introduce you to the lists. These are some of the major important blocks that you are going to be encountering in building your website. So I am going to include the list. The list comes in two forms. The list will have the ordered list and the unordered list. Unordered list is depicted with UL, and it comes with extra tags that are nested within it. The unordered list cannot just function like that, or the list tag cannot just function on its own without you having the children. This is more like the parent tag. This UL or the OL is the parent tag. The next one now is for us to put in the items. This is the LI. This LI we could say, okay, this is our first item, and we will also do another LI, and this is our second item, and of course let us also do a third item. A mistake here. So let's do the third item here. And how does this appear? If we go back and reload our page, let me just go back and reload this page so that you'll get to see it. If we reload our page, we should be able to see this is the unordered list. This unordered list is actually a list that is actually meant to, it's more like the bullet point when you want to add bullet points in your HTML document. That is when you use this unordered list. And then the opposite of unordered list is the ordered list. So what I just need to do is I will just have to go ahead and copy this my script. I'll copy this and just paste it immediately below, and the only thing I will change is change the U here to O so that this becomes ordered list. If we save this and we'll go back and refresh our page, if we go back and refresh this our page, we should be able to see the effect of the unordered list and the ordered list. So this first block is the unordered list and this one is the ordered list. Also, I may not be able to start talking about some attributes until we'll get to the point where we'll start adding attributes. I will also mention that the attributes can add a few other features to what we are doing. And I'll just go ahead and let's go back to our code. So with regards to all those things that we have been able to see, we have seen the unordered list, we've seen the ordered list as well. There is another thing that that are very important, another tag that is very important in HTML. It is the link. This link is depicted with A. It is the A tag. However, what I'm going to also do is I am going to get you a list of all the HTML tags and drop it for you. It's going to be in the description of this video so that you will have access to all the HTML tags, or a document that gives you access to all the HTML tags, and so that you can see all the tags. However, it is not all the tags we are going to be using. I will still guide you through with the tags we are going to be using. So this is the A tag, But then I want to do something that is different here. In this A tag, if I say this is my link, or let me just say click here. If I just say click here and I save this, let's go ahead and test this. Let's go ahead and test it, and let us see what it looks like. If we refresh, so this is just going to show as a normal text. It is not going to be shown as a link. However, what we intend to do is to convert that to a link. So what do we do? That is where we'll start introducing our meta tag. A meta tag will need to be introduced here. We will introduce our meta tag here. This meta tag we're going to be the attribute, it's not the meta tag, it's the attribute that we're going to be introducing here. This attribute that we're going to be introducing here is the attribute of href. And what are attributes? Attributes are extra features that are assigned to any particular HTML tag with the mindset to give different feature to that particular tag. Attributes could have different things. It could be either we want to give a name to that particular tag, or we want to give it an ID, or want to assign different other values to it, or want to even do a styling for that particular tag. That is where we use attributes. And so for this ahref, for the a tag, we call it the anchor tag. The anchor tag, we use the href as a pointer to where we want to visit. Let's take, for instance, where I want to visit is this YouTube channel. So I will just put the YouTube channel link here and say this is youtube.com/@smartclouds, and so we save this. And let me just go back now and refresh the page so that you will see what I just did. If we go back and refresh this page, you see that this turns to a blue color, and it simply means that I can go ahead and click on it. And let me see what happened. If I click on it, what does it do? It will take me straight to the YouTube channel. It will take me to it. Will just load the YouTube channel straight, which is what we have. In fact, if you point to it, you see that the link is already showing below. So by clicking on it, it takes me straight to the YouTube channel, which is the reference I already stated that it should have. And so that is actually what that tag does. I don't want to go to that channel. You could see that it redirected me to that channel, but I actually want to use that to just show you an example. So that is where the tag is located. And so there's another tag we want to also introduce to us here. This tag we want to introduce is the image tag. You know, when you're building your website, it is very, very important also that you understand that images are also what helps you beautify your website, and you cannot take away images from your website, especially if you want to build a website that is aesthetically pleasing. If you want to build a website that is very appealing to your visitors, you must have images. However, a rule of the thumb is that ensure that the images you're also having on your website are not very heavy images. Before we wrap up the segment for this website design, I'm going to also be teaching you the do's and don'ts when you're building a website. Things that will make your website to be very slow, things that will make your website to be very fast. Some of those basic things, some of those basic errors and mistakes that people make are the things I'm going to be showing you how to avoid, and how to ensure you optimize your website without really using any web optimization software. I am going to be showing you that directly from your code. You don't need to do any special optimization. And of course, when I talked about the search engine optimization, a whole lot of persons, so many companies pay heavily for their websites to be optimized. And these are simple things that you can even use your direct code within the HTML to accomplish, such that you will be able to tell people, okay, you will be able to give adequate keywords in your meta tags, and then they will push your website to appear among the first search results on any search engine. So I'm going to also be unveiling such to you. So for the next tag we're going to be adding is the image tag. The image tag comes with an img, and of course I believe right now you should already know that what this will mean. src is a short for source. src is a short for source. And the image tag, I want to make something clear to you. You see, I just closed. I don't need to either close it this way or this way. I told you in the first class that there are some tags you can close, that opens and closes, and there are some tags that you don't need to close. It just, once you open it, that is all you need to do, and image tag is one of those tags. So don't ask me a question why I did not close the image tag. I know that question will pop up, but it has been properly closed. Even if I don't add this forward slash, this is okay, but also add it to just be on the safe side. So this source, which is the attribute src, is an attribute of source, which says where should I look for the image that will be loaded on this website. So for you who is just coming here, what I want you to do is to get an image, and take it to the folder where you have saved this file. And mine is on the desktop. So I am going to get the image, and I will name it image.jpg. so that is my image. So what I will do is I will then come here and say that the source is image.jpg. Please, one more thing that you have to do, should in case you put this and it doesn't work, I know that your system by default is shown to hide extensions, but if you are on Windows 10, I'll just quickly show you something. How you can make your website, or how you can make the extension on your web page to show. So just I'll just show you something, just a quick one, please. Let me transition so that you can see this. Let me just move this here. So with regards to that, what I need you to do is go to view. On view, you will see on view, you will see at this segment on view, you will see file name and extension. It will not be unchecked. Please just check it. Make sure it is checked so that your file name and extensions will be visible. If you uncheck it, it is not going to be visible. So just click on it so that when you view your files, you will have the images. Look at this one. This is crawlingbaby.jpg. So if you click now, you can select all to copy both the file name and the extension. So that is just that about that. What I then want you to do is we have already added an image file. I want to add one more thing to this image file. The one more thing I want to add to this image file is the description. So how do we give a description to an image such that when you point to that image, the image will have a name? I will use the alt. Alt is more like the alternate text, a text that should be displayed in case that image file you have stated there is broken. I will show you what a broken image look like. So this text is the text that should show. I will say this should be just call this the description of the image. and let's save and refresh our page. I'm going to just perpetually keep this up. Okay, I'm just going to keep this up perpetually. So if I refresh, there should be an image now. See, the image is here. The image is here. And if you notice something, the image is appearing beside the anchor tag that we created earlier, and that will bring me to showing you one more tag. Assuming you want to drop this image to start on the next line or to start below the anchor ref, what will you do? This is what we will do. With regards to that, what we will just do is we will come to here. Immediately after the image, we'll put another tag called the BR. BR is the break tag, and the break tag doesn't close. You can put the break tag like this, or you can still leave it the way it's we left it earlier without adding the slash, the forward slash. So if I come back here and if I come back here and refresh this file now, the image comes down and the break and the click here, which is our anchor tag, it stays at the top. So that is also how you create a break. Now if you notice, it just pushes this image to the next line. It doesn't create a paragraph. Now that you may be asking, what is the difference between this break and paragraph? The difference here is that the break tag just moves your content to the next line and not just necessarily creating spaces. If you notice, the space here is that the space between these two blocks are actually large, because automatically there is a paragraph space that is created here. But for this break, the break just moves you directly to the next line, so that it doesn't create a new line for you. So that is exactly what we have been able to do there. And so the next thing that we are going to also put here, we've already talked about the image tag. The next one is the table tag. The table tag is a tag that we normally use to create table. Just like you have your normal table in Microsoft, or sorry, in word processors. It could be Microsoft Office, or you use the Word in the word processor in any other operating system you're using. So you can actually create tables there. What are the works of tables? Tables are used, just like the name implies, to list items in tables. And of course, in HTML, tables can be used as a very important building block. We are going to be seeing what tables can be used to build, and so I will just have to go straight and create a table. So this is how a table is created. But then the table needs to come with several other things. There are going to be other nested items. A table will come with different sub tags, and each of these sub tags, this first one you do is to declare the table. I'm not going to put attribute for the table until I just add something to it. So what I'm going to add next is the tr. This tr is to show the table row. This tr is to show the table row. And of course, I want to show a table that has a heading, and of course it has a body, and of course sometimes you may want to create a table that will also have a footer. But for this, let's just add this row, and then let's add the table cell, which is the table column. So this is now a one row, one column table, but I want to duplicate this to make it one row, two column table. So I will say this is name, and then I will say this is age. However, don't use td here because I want to use this as my heading, so I will use th. I will also turn this to th, so that this becomes the table header. And so when I save and go back to, if I save and go back to my code, or sorry, to the browser, If I go back to my browser, I should be able to, if I refresh, it should be able to show me this is the table, the name and the age. However, you see that it does not have any line because we did not specify it should have line. So I want to just show you something there. With regards to that, this is what I want to do. I want to add extra attribute to this table. So I will add the width attribute. This width attribute will give us a width on the table. So we are going to say that this is 100%. 100% means this table will take 100% of the, it's going to take 100% of the screen view. And of course, another attribute we are going to add is the border attribute. The border we are going to add here, let's just make this a border of 1 so that we should be able to have the line showing. So I'll go back and refresh this page. If I refresh this page, we should have it a bit different now. You see, we now have a table that has a head, the header section with the name and the age showing. And so what we also have to start doing now is to also add other cells. So what do? I'll just come here and create another TR, which is our table row. I want to add now the cell item. This is TD. Remember, the other one is for the head. Now this is just for the body. I will still show us how to separate the head and the body too. There are other tags that we could do. Sometimes for it to be clearer to you, you could do the T head. You could do the T head and enclose the whole of this TR in the T head. You just enclose everything here, and then let's indent this. Please follow my indenting pattern. The way I indent my code makes it a lot easier for you to, it makes a code readable, and it makes it that you will know what block you are in per time. Learn the habit of doing proper code indenting. Of course, some of these editing apps or text editors you are going to be using, they are going to help you indent. Some of them does automatic indenting for you. So especially the Visual Studio Code, if you are on Windows or Mac OS X, if you are on PC, the Visual Studio Code is going to help you to do proper indenting. But in Notepad++ here, I have to do the indenting myself. So that this is another TD, and this, we've already said that this is T head. Let me quickly do the T body so that you will be able to separate this adequately. So this is the T body. So this T body, please make sure so that when you're also defining your head and the body, that you have the same number of cells, which is the same columns and rows. Make sure that is clearly stated so that you will be sure that you have the same number of rows and the same number of columns when you are actually designing. And so with regards to that, if I go back and refresh this page, let's see what we'll have. This has already created a cell, but there is no item inside the cell. So what do? I will just go ahead and add record inside it. So I will say for this one, we said this table should be a table of name. So this should be John, and then the age of John is 26. And let me just create another one. But what you could also do is just go ahead and replicate this, copy the whole of this block and paste, so that you have the next one as Jane, and Jane is 31. So we save. As we save right now, and we go back here and refresh, and we'll refresh this page, we should be able to have details on, okay, we'll have John, and then we'll have Jane. John is 26 years old, Jane is 31 years old. And if you notice, the system, your web page stretched the width of this table to 100%. The 100% means 100% of the screen available. If you are on mobile, it means this table is going to stretch to 100% of the entire screen view. So that's why most times I like using percentage to determine my dimensions so that I will know exactly what I am doing. So if you use percentage, it's going to stretch. But for this table that is not really that big, we could decide to say, okay, let's use let's do 60% of let's do 60% of it. You see, I just changed here to from 100 to 60. So we'll save, and then I go back here again and refresh. So you see it has brought it down to 60%. So 60% of the screen size is a bit the side will be a bit bigger than than one side of the screen. So, and of course the system automatically detected that okay, the name is supposed to be a bit bigger, age is smaller, so it has allotted larger space to this segment than it gave to this segment. So those are some of the automatic things that your browser even does. And of course you could reset this, you could make this, you could decide to say, okay, this is the width I want for each of the columns. But in setting that, it's going to be a bit technical, and I won't go into that right now. You are going to see it as we progress. Then the next thing I want to show you is the forms. The form is another HTML tag that we're going to be dealing with. Now, when you get to a point where people need to submit, where people need to fill a form on your website and submit, how do you collect users' input? How do you allow people type in their names? How do you allow people put in their phone numbers, assuming you want to do data collection on your website? How do you do that? Forms help us to accomplish that. And so what we do is that we're going to be introducing form to what we do. And so this form is introduced this way, form, and we'll close it. And then you start adding the various form elements. Some of these things are things that are very, very important. They are very, very important. The form could have other attributes like the action. The action attribute is what points to when you try to submit this form, where will this form send me to? What would this form do? So the action attribute, I could just say submit form.php. That should be the action that will be performed. So it means I will have my script, my PHP script, that will collect data of what is submitted here and try to save it to my system. Remember, I told you that a full website or a dynamic website is one that will collect records from users, and when it collects records from users, it will go ahead and store it. That is a website that is dynamic. The content of the website will have to change based on users' activity. And so I just want to bring a little bit of that into this so that you will see how some of those things work. And so for this form, I am going to introduce a first form element of label. This label is more like going to be used for identifying the various fields. So what is this going to be for? This label is going to be for name. So then I will just go ahead and put in name here, and so I will come down and put in the name field proper, which is input, and I'll call this, you will give an attribute of type. The type I want to have here is text because I want to receive text. You can as well go ahead to check which other attributes can you introduce, which other attributes are the things you may want to just bring in. When you get the various attributes that can follow each of these HTML tags, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So this is text, and then I will also give it an ID of name, and I will also give it a name of name. And so I'll close this tag. This tag doesn't need opening and closing like the label. I told you there are tags you can open and close, but there are some tags that you just open and you are done with it that way. And so once we have gotten the input field, we'll also need to put another one, which is button, and then we'll say what is the type of this button. The type of this button should be submit, and then I'll close this, and then I'll put the what will appear on the button here, and then I will save. If I go back and refresh my page, if I go back and refresh this page, we want to see what happens. You see, we now have the name. I need to put a break here so that we will be able to see what has happened. So let me just put a break tag here. I'll put like 3 so that it will separate it. This is where I added 3 break tags here so that you will be able to see what I added here. The essence of me adding that 3 tag is, you see, this place is jam packed right now, so I will just use the break tag to separate it. So it has pushed it down 3 times. So I now have the field for name. You see, one can put in name here and click on submit. When I click on submit, what does it do? It takes me to the, if you look at the URL bar of your browser, you will see that it took me to the submit form, which is the action we created. And then because we did not state a method for it, the system just assumed that it just assumed the default action, sorry, the default method, which is the get method. Don't ask me what get method is, because right now I'm not going to explain that until we'll get to form proper, where I can talk about the get and the post method. So then this is the name, the form, the name, and this is what we typed in. I hope you understand this that we just did here. So that is that about the form. And so I want to be talking about attributes and semantic tags. And so initially I've already stated some attributes while we are already discussing, or while we've been going through all these other ones. I gave different attributes like the src attributes for image source. I also give the href attribute, which is the href attribute for the anchor tag. And I want to explain a little bit of this. So to enhance these HTML elements with attributes, we added the href. We added, that is in the anchor tag. We also added where do we add? Okay, we added the src in the image tag. That src shows the source of the image. And of course we added the alt tag. The alt tag also shows us the alternative image. Now I want to show you what this alt tag, this description of the image I will put here, what will happen in a situation. I told you of a broken image. In a situation where I just put image.jp, if I come back and refresh this page, this my image should disappear, and you have this icon here, this kind of image icon here, showing you that there is no image available, but this is an image icon showing here. So what this simply means is that this image is a broken image. The browser could not find this image URL. So it means you have stated an image that does not exist, or that you have added something to that image name and it is broken. So those are the things we call broken images. And so when an image is broken, what will show there will be the alternative text, the alt that you've displayed. So the alt is displayed here. And also this alt is used very, very importantly on web pages. You see, when you go to Google and search, you'll find out that some images will just show up. Some images on websites will show up among your search results. Those things are not magic. The search keywords you used is a keyword that is related to the name or the alt text used for that image. So when you are also building your website, you also need to understand that the names you give to your various images will determine whether they are searchable on search engines or not. When the web crawler is going through the website or crawling your website to index them, or to index your website on Google or any other search engine, the images you use, how you give name to the image, how you give the attribute, the alt attribute to the image, is very, very important. So you need to be sure that you give adequate attributes, adequate alt attributes to your image so that your image can be easily searchable. So it is very, very important that you understand that. Then we went ahead also to put in the, in this segment we'll put in the ID, and then we also put in the ID and class. I did not specify class, but the ID and class is used for styling and identification. In situation where I want to identify this with maybe I want to do a certain design on this particular tag, the ID tag can help me, the ID attribute can help me to say, okay, this is the kind of styling I want to give to this image. And of course there's a type attribute which specify what type of that particular input you have there. Most of these, most tags have a fixed type, especially when it comes to uh, form tags. When it comes to form items like the inputs, like the button, okay, I think that's just the input and the button are the ones that have types. So, and those are the ones you're going to be using so much. This button must not be button. You can even have this have it as input and you say type submit. But when you say type submit, you don't need to close it this way. It will just go to be, it is just going to be straight, and then you put the value to be submit. I don't want to go that route anyway. So I've just talked about the attributes and semantic tags. I just talked about the attributes and the semantic tags, where I explained to you a few of these attributes that are there. And then of course the semantic tags is use of semantic tags for better structure. I want to just go back again and show you what I meant by using semantic tag. So I will just, in this semantic tag within the body segment, I want to now I just did something. I just pressed so many enter keys here, and by default you are expecting that there should be a space here, but trust me, there's something we'll call white spaces in programming or in HTML. These white spaces are ignored. They assume that you have made a mistake and then you entered so many white spaces. They are just treated as one single space, so it is not going to be visible. Let's take for instance, if I type something here and say this is the last line. If I go ahead and refresh my page, I know you are expecting to see this is the last line, maybe like 3 lines below, but this is it immediately here. So the system, the browser ignored all those spaces as white spaces. It's not going to make use of it, and then it will just ignore it, and that is just that. It will not make use of it. And so what then do I need to do? Assuming I want to add those extra spaces, I'll need to put breaks. I'll need to put breaks so that those extra spaces can be removed. That is just what I have to do there, but I don't need this line. So, and I just need to come down here and let's do some semantics. So in the semantics, I will use the header, and it closes the header, and then I will say I will add the h1, and I will say welcome to my website. So another thing I will also do here is I will put main. This is another main semantic. This is a semantic tag. Then I'll put the p tag within it, and I will say this is the main content area. And then the next one I'll do is the footer, and so I'll do the p inside it, and I will use this and copy 2025 my website, all rights reserved. So I'll save this. If I save this and go back to refresh my web page, let's see what we'll have. Now this is what I have here. So I have the content showing just below. Okay, you see the content are showing just below. I didn't save it earlier. They are showing just below. So these are the content here showing. You have welcome. This is the main content area, and then it's more like just having different blocks being separated so that you will know how this works. So this is the work of the semantic tags. The semantic tags are used when you want to give proper structuring to your HTML file so that everything will work well. So we can even use semantic tags to separate the header section, where we'll just put in all these things we have. Let me just do something here. All these things that we've created here, I'll have this as the heading, and then I'll put everything here within this main block, so that all of them will form the main block area. So this is what we'll have. If I refresh, oh, so this is what I have here now. I had to put all these things inside the main block. You see, I put it inside the main block, and if I save this and I try to refresh, if I try to refresh, you see everything now has also been put within that block, and all of them still look as though I have not done anything. But in the code, it is going to help me to determine which block am I in. So this is the main segment. Anything at all that is within here is the main, and then the footer, anything that is here is going to be the footer section. Of course, we are going to be using the semantics to do a lot of styling as well. And so the next thing we want to look at is introduction to CSS. And first, you will be asking, what is CSS? CSS is an acronym for cascading style sheet, which is used to enhance the visual appearance of HTML documents. I told you that HTML tags or HTML is used to set the structure of your website. If you can remember, CSS is used to give visual appealing view to the HTML web page that you've created, or to the web page you have created. And so it is used to style text, layout, colors, and more. Now, how does this CSS work? CSS work in three different formats. There are different types of CSS that we have. We have the first one, the inline CSS. That inline CSS is used when you want to apply styles directly to an element. Take for instance that this welcome to my website, I want to apply element to it. What do? I just come here and say style as an attribute, and then I will say color. The color I want to add is blue color, and then I want to add a font size. I want to add a font size, so I'll do this font size 18 pixel. This is what I have here, 18 pixel. So I will save. If I save this and go over and refresh this page, notice what happened. That header tag that that h1 tag that was very huge, now became 18 pixel by virtue of what we stated. I told you that you can use CSS to change the size of text. I can also go back again, and instead of making this 18 pixel, I will make this 40 pixel, 40 px. Px means pixel. If I refresh, now see the size is even way bigger than the h1 tag that was specified earlier. And so whichever size that you want to give it, it's all depend on you. So by virtue of using CSS, we can actually transform the h6 tag to be bigger and make the h1 tag to even look smaller in our design, depending on how you want to make use of these styles. So this is just an example of the styling I've given to you. The this is the inline style. The inline style is used directly on the HTML tag that it affects. So that is where you use it directly. And of course, when I finish the internal CSS and the external CSS, I'm going to show you what we call okay, let me not just go there, but then okay, I'm going to show you what is called the precedence, uh, how this rule applies, the rule of precedence, which one comes first and which one takes the higher precedence, when assuming you have the three of them in your document. So I will just go straight to showing you what the internal CSS looks like. So to have an internal CSS, this is what I expect most times. I want you to do. You will come to the head section. You know, I told you that this head section is going to hold a whole lot. So I will come here and specify our style and give my space here. So first, what I want to do is I want to give the body tag, I want to give it a styling that will affect everything in the body tag. So I will say that this is the background color. This background color, I will say this light gray, and then I will save. And then another thing I will do is I will just go ahead and say that my h1 tag, h1, in this particular pattern right now, I'm just referring to the elements directly, to the tags directly. So color, let me say that this is red, for instance. So if I go over and refresh this my web page, you see that the background color took effect, but then the color I gave here does not take effect. Why is it that the color I gave here does not work? It's still having the blue that is here. I told you that if you have the inline styling, it is going to overshadow everything. So let me just quickly delete this and let us see what happens. If I refresh, you see the red color comes up with a default size, and so that is just what we've been able to accomplish here. So it makes that this thing that we've applied here, this style that we've applied at the top here, now is applied to the entire document, and anywhere it sees h1 is going to instantly take that that styling that we've already given to it there. And so the next one that we're going to talk about is external style sheets. And how do we do external style sheets? We create external style sheets in a different document and then call it. I want you there is one particular tag I missed, which is a very important tag. It is called the comment tag. What do I mean by comment? If I want to remove a particular tag for it not to be displayed, I'll just have to comment it out. So if I comment this segment out now and then I refresh this page, it is going to remove everything that I have specified there. Now I simply did that for me to take you through the external CSS, and that external CSS is where I'm going to be showing you also something else. So I'm going to be creating a new script, and that new script that I'm creating here, I'll call that new script style. Okay, let me not save yet. So I'm going to type the body tag here, and so I will say the font family is going to be Arial and sans serif. You can have all the font families. Of course, the font families are available. You can browse for font families so that you know the various font families you want to use. Now this font family is what is the font that my website should use, assuming people visit my website. So the browser will automatically check what is the font that is installed on your system. If your system has these fonts that are stated here, then it is going to be a lot easier. The system will just pick from any of this font, but if it doesn't, it will just pick a default font, which I know every browser has area, or every system has area fonts already installed. So use, when you're choosing fonts, please use fonts that are universal, fonts that you know that almost every system has. Don't go and use some fonts because the fonts are beautiful to you. You want to use that font, and then people end up not installing the font on their system. What you're going to do is that you're going to put people in a very precarious or in a very difficult situation where the system will not be able to detect the fonts. And then anyway, there is how browsers does that. They will just ignore those your fonts if they are not working, and just go ahead and use the fonts, the default fonts that is there on the person's browser, so on the person's system. So we're going to save this. So what I'm going to do is I will save this inside the same directory, which is the desktop. I will save it as style.css. Remember, we saved, okay, I have another style.css, so I'm going to save this one as style1.css. so this now will be properly saved as style1.css. so the next thing I want to add here is margin. This margin I want to add is 20 pixel. Now what does this margin do? This margin is more like adding space around the entire block of this body, so that the top, the bottom, the left and the right, everything will not just be directly close to. Just let me show you. When we state this, you will see it when we refresh the page. And then another thing I will do now is to add the h1 tag, and put a formatting for that h1 tag. So we'll say that the color is green. And so when we are done, it's assumed we are done, we will save this and then come back to our HTML file. At this head section, in between the head, we will want to call in that style that we have just created, and so we will use the link tag, link, and then we'll say rel. Rel means relative. It means that where am I going to be looking for this? What is this link related to? So it's related to style sheet, and then href here is where should I search for this style sheet you are trying to call. So I'll just say is style1.css, and so I will save. Once I save, I'll refresh this page. Say welcome to my website. You see a space has been added by the left hand side here. A space is added at the top, 20 pixel space. A space is also added by the right, and the space is added on the bottom. If you want to see that space more, you can increase it. You could say 100 pixels, so that you see how far the system has been able to add spaces around your content. So that is mostly what we've been able to do here. So with this, we've been able to create an external style sheet, and then we'll call it. Now we want to start creating the selectors and properties. In CSS, there is something we called selectors and properties. The various selectors are the class and the ID selector. Also, this selector is more like which item do you want to apply this to. And in this CSS we earlier stated, this is a selector, the body is a selector, and then we'll have the various properties. This is the property of font family, and then it now has a value of the font family we want to have. This is also another selector here. Now this is another selector with the property, and then this is the value. This is another property of this body selector. So we want to also do another selector for paragraph tag, so that wherever the system sees the paragraph, it knows, okay, I want to give it a color of red. And of course, if you save and go back to your CSS, to your HTML file, and refresh, you're going to see that anywhere the system sees the paragraph, it will make it red. Anywhere it sees the paragraph, it will make it red. And so This is just what has been accomplished. And for this, what the external style sheet does is that whatever feature, whatever styling that you give to your document there, it will just appear automatically on all the other on all the pages that is linked to. Sometimes I prefer to use, in fact, the best form of styling that we use is the external styling, because it has effect. It can have effect on multiple pages. Get me correctly, inline CSS only works on that particular line of code that you are applying it. Internal CSS works only on that particular HTML document you are applying it. But external CSS is used when you want to use the same CSS on multiple HTML files. We are going to get this clearer as we proceed. And so there's something we'll call the class selector. The class selector is something when you I will just implement the class selector here and go to the HTML interface and show you. The class selector, use a dot to identify the class selector. Dot highlight, for instance. This is what I want to do, and then I want to say that the background color should be yellow. So I'll save. And now, how do I call this highlight? This is what I do. I go to here. I want to call this highlight inside here, where I've already where in the paragraph tag. Remember, we say the paragraph tag should be red. So I want to call the highlight. So I will say class, and then I will call the highlight class, so that when I go over here and refresh, you see what happens. It is added instantly. So the highlight is added. And of course, you see, when you add this highlight, there's also another thing you could do. You see that this yellow background color is almost touching the text. So what we could do is we could add a padding to it. We could just pad and say, let me just add extra attributes here. Let me add extra attributes. You come to the style, and then we could come here and say padding, let it be 30 pixel. I'll save and go over and refresh this page. You see, this is the 30 pixel. It added the space by the left. It added 30 pixel on the right. Sorry, on the top. It added on the right, and it also added on the left. But if, for instance, I just want to add to the left and the right, if I just want to add to the left and the right, all I need to do is to say padding left, and then I'll also do 30 pixel, and also say padding right 20 pixel. So I'll save and then go over here and refresh. You see, it's added only on the left and also added on the right, but the top and the bottom, it removed the padding because we did not specify it. So but when you just do padding, it will add the padding to all the when you do padding straight, it will add the padding to all the various sides. It will add it to both the left, it will add it to the right, it will add it to the top, and also add it to the bottom. And then the next one is the ID selector. The ID selector, how do we add the ID selector? You just use the hashtag, and then you put the, let's just say this is unique, and then I will say the font size should be 20 pixel. So how do I then call this unique? I'll copy this and come over to the website, and so I will just come here that I have another p tag and put ID to be equal to, I'll put unique, so that when I refresh this page, you know, I said it should be 20 pixel. Now you see the size of it here. If I refresh, it is a bit bigger. It has increased it automatically. It has increased it. So that is what it does. Now don't get me wrong, it's not as if this tag can only be added to one. I can also use this ID tag of unique. I want to add it to the table head section, so I could just add it here, and when I refresh now, this idea of unique, I just want to add it here too, and so that when I refresh, it will appear, the 20 pixel will be applied to the header section of this table. So when I just go ahead and refresh, you see the header section increased, and it became 20 pixel. So it's very important. Another thing we can also do is on this place, for this segment, we can even do t head and say in the t head, everything about t head, it should have a background color. It should have a background color of orange, for instance, and then or let's just say it should have a background color of dark green, and let the color be white. So if we go ahead and oh, this is what I did. I just came to my CSS, and then I said the T head, we want to add extra style into the T head, so which is what we've done here. And so let's go ahead and refresh this page. If I refresh this page, you see what happened here. It's apart from the unique ID that we used there, we now also added extra style in here. Now get me correctly, you are not bound to just use one ID or one class on one particular element. You can actually do different styling on class and ID, but you have to call one ID once. You cannot use multiple ID on one particular tag, but you can use multiple class on one particular tag, assuming you have specified a class that says, okay, the color is going to be red, and then you specify another class that says it's going to be padded, and then you add other things. You want to float it to the right, you want to align it to the center, and you want this class to be functioning at different points. One particular element could have multiple classes, so that it will have different attributes. And so we've been able to do the class and the ID selectors. This is the class selector. Class selector starts with a dot, and ID selector starts with an hash tag. So this hash is actually used as the ID selector. And so we already talked about properties, and then the value. The values that we have there, for instance, inside this background color is a property, and then that green is the value we added to that background color. And so it makes that every property you add, you must actually have every attribute or every selector you add, you must add a value to that selector. And of course, we want to look at the text. And of course, we want to look at the text properties, which we have already done before, the H1, where you can have a font size of 24 pixel, and then you do a text aligning. Take for instance here, we want to add the font. We will okay, so we want to add the font size, and that font size, we call it 24 pixel, and then we want to do a text align, and we'll say it should be centered. We could also do text decoration, and in this text decoration we could say it should be underlined, and so we save. If we come over here and we'll refresh, let's see where we'll have the h1 tag. See what happened. It converted it to 24 pixel and aligned it to center and then underlined it. Earlier we've already said it should have a color of green, so that's why it took that shape. So everything we're doing here is working, and it is just like I told you, what you make out of any programming language is actually what you decide to make out of it. Mine is only to show you everything that I need to show you here, but of course don't worry, we are going to put all these things together so that you will see a proper structure for your website. I will get to a point where I will show you how to plan a website and how to start executing. Of course, it's part of what we talked about in the first segment. And so the next one we want to do is to do a practical styling example, which I will it's just something that we did earlier. So I will just there's a code I've already written somewhere, and what I just need to do is I'll copy it and paste for you to see. Maybe you could just take your time also, and maybe I'll just drop the file. All these files that I've created now, don't worry, I am going to put it in a folder, compress it and drop for you, so that you will be able to have access to the file in case you do not, if you do not see all this content. What I want you to do is I want you to also go ahead and on our various handles, just reach out to us on this YouTube channel and let us get to know what you need. Should in case you have a need for us to help guide you through, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on this channel so that we can help guide you properly. It is very, very important that we are here to assist you. Please make sure that you reach out to us at every point so that we can help guide you through. And so let's go back to what we were saying earlier. I am going to copy a certain codes that I've already developed before. I'll just copy the codes and paste it. So once I paste, I will explain. So I want to create a new document, and then I'll paste. This is just a HTML file, and then I will save this as new website.html. I'll save it as new website.html. I want to save it new website.html is what I saved it with. If you can see, you can see the name of the file. You can see the name, new website.html. And so I want to also copy another CSS, and show you. I'll copy the CSS and drop it also. So this is called styles. I will just paste this. This is called styles. I will save it on desktop too, styles.css, and then I'll save. So each of these segments, this is the body, which has a font family of various and serif. Background color of this is a different color, and I've not talked about colors There's how you represent color. This is a hexadecimal color representation, but please, I don't want you to bother right now about the various color codes. It's not something I want you to bother about. I will still treat the color codes is part of another section which is not really involved here. So this is the hexadecimal code, and then just take a look at all this and then type it yourself. This is the HTML code. This is the HTML code, and I believe you should be able to write this directly yourself. Please don't do the mistake of trying to copy at this initial stage, except if you already understand programming to an extent. Then I think this preliminary stage you can actually skip it until we get to the point that is more advanced or that is at your level. Then you can start following up with us. But please, if this is your first time starting out with HTML, please don't skip anything. Follow me through all the things I have done. Follow me through. And so I'm going to be giving you an assignment because this class is already coming to an end. I'm going to be giving you an assignment, and the assignment is for you to create a personal profile web page that include a heading with your name. It's going to include a short paragraph about yourself, and then it will have your image, and then it will have a list of your hobbies, and then you will need to apply CSS for styling. Use an external style sheet. This is just going to enable you um, practice what we've learned today. So you are going to drop this thing for me on the WhatsApp group. You're going to drop it for me on the WhatsApp group so that I will, if I drop it for me in the WhatsApp group so that I will be able to evaluate what you've done. Don't worry, I'll also copy this and drop it for you. So I believe that today's class we have been able to accomplish a lot in today's class. We've been able to I believe that in today's class we've been able to do a deep dive into HTML, and then we also saw CSS at work. And with all those things we are doing, like play, we will build a very beautiful website. If you follow us keenly, if you are very, very committed to this course and you align with us, I promise you are going to enjoy this class, and you're going to end up at the end of this 3 weeks, you're going to be building your own website. Please, I want you to remain very focused and committed. This is just the starting, and of course you see it's already looking very interesting. And one thing I will assure you, it's not going to get to a point where it will be very difficult for you. Yes, by this pace we are taking, you are going to enjoy every bit of it. And once again, I want to appreciate you for being a part of this class. My name is John Aja, and like I told you, I'm going to be your instructor for this period. In case you have any challenge with regards to your HTML tags, in case you need any other support with regards to ICT, please just reach out to me. I could do one or two things to help you out. Don't keep that your question bottled up. It's going to affect you. Just look for a place to unleash those questions that you're having. And hey, my inbox is open for you to drop your messages. Feel free at any time to drop us a message there, and I want to appreciate you. This is still the class for our HTML, our intensive class, 3 weeks web design class, where we say you can learn web design in 3 weeks. And trust me, we are committed to ensuring that you learn this web design in 3 weeks. We are very, very committed. Don't worry, we are not going to charge you. We said it's completely free, and we're not going to charge you anything for this class. But make sure you try to follow us on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our channel, and then follow us on our social media handle at Facebook. Follow us at Smart Clouds, and then of course at X. On X, you need to follow me personally. I am Aja John is the name, so that you can get updates on the things I do. There are going to be several other trainings that will be coming up, and I don't want you to miss any. If you're following this community, I want you to stay resolute. You're going to learn a lot. Just use this first quarter of 2025 to be a learning period for you, and I bet you the remaining months in 2025 you're going to enjoy it, because you're going to be making money that you never thought were possible. Thank you for joining us in today's class. If you have any question, please do feel free to reach out to me and drop those your questions. I believe that we've been able to do justice to all those things, and this concept that we showed you today, I believe if you practice it very well, it's going to help you. Now prepare for the next class. Our next class, we said it's going to be on Monday. We're going to have anyway, don't worry, I'll drop the notification for the next class. So we're going to be having our classes 3 times in a week, and yeah, we are going to accomplish a lot within this period. Thank you so much for being a part of this class. We hope you enjoy the class. Do enjoy the rest of the day.